Hello, I'm Sam Baker, and I'm talking to you on behalf of all of those who participated in Walk2COP27. By way of introduction, I am a stubborn climate optimist. So Walk2COP27 has been a year-long initiative, and it was sparked by a walk that we did from London to Glasgow last year for COP26. And both initiatives have been about raising awareness around climate change. This year, we sought to do this slightly differently. The three objectives we've set ourselves were to provide an opportunity for people to learn from each other, to build solidarity between all of those we engage with, and thirdly, by helping people make connections which will help them with their climate actions. Our target groups have been broad. They've included local authorities, environmental NGOs, universities and schools, businesses, faith groups, citizens, and friends and family. And our geographic focus has been inclusive. It includes India, it includes the US, but it's fair to say it's primarily focused on 12 key countries on the route from Glasgow to Sharm el-Sheikh. We frame climate action in terms of the outcomes that we hope for. The first is net zero, which we see as reducing emissions in line with the Paris Agreement. The second is resilience, so the outcome of adapting to withstand the inevitable impacts of global warming that we know are coming our way. Third is justice, resulting from ensuring both the process and outcomes of the transition we seek are inclusive and equitable. And then finally, circularity, which we tend to hear of less when we talk about climate, but I think is critical because it requires us to build the systems we move to in a way that minimizes the impact on the planet. We engaged people in a number of different activities, and the first and foremost was moving for trees. The second was holding a series of town halls. Then each of the participants could hold their own climate clubhouse sessions, and then we amplified this all on social media. And the vision was an unruly, passionate collective of climate-concerned people from all sorts of different walks of life coming together, being noisy and making themselves heard in the run-up to COP within their countries, between countries, within their organizations. After 6 months of planning, we launched on the 22nd of September, and then we ran this initiative for over 50 days up until the end of COP on the 18th of the 11th. Participants were encouraged to register on an app called Atlas Go as a team, and then to walk, run, cycle, or wheelchair as many kilometers over the 57 days, and each of those kilometers then translated into trees planted in Burundi by the Jane Goodall Institute. The teams use this initiative to highlight their own climate activities and to strengthen and create new relationships, to have fun, and to motivate themselves. So by the end, we had 1,661 participants from over 65 countries, grouped into 150 plus teams, and collectively we walked over 100,000 kilometers. We posted 1,325 selfies, and all of that resulted in 200,000 trees to be planted in Burundi by the Jane Goodall Institute. So then, in order to underscore the idea of a journey from COP26 in Scotland to COP27 in Egypt, we held a series of town halls in 12 countries over the 57 days. And the idea of the town halls was they were an exposition of the challenge of climate change in that country, but also of the solutions. And it was fascinating to see the commonality, but also the differences between those challenges and those solutions. Town halls were hybrid or virtual. They were inclusive, so everybody could join, and they were fascinating learning opportunities. One additional town hall was run in a slightly different way, and this was online, asking all participants to engage and tell their own story. Each participant could also lead an audio-only session on Clubhouse, and we ended up with 28 Clubhouse sessions across our journey with a huge breadth of topics. One was on the floods in Pakistan and the role of women and girls in climate activism, how to take climate education to children, obviously a critically difficult topic, really important, and then also one on climate activism in business. And then in terms of social media, we used our website, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and a bit of Twitter to communicate with all of those we wanted to engage with, but also to allow people to engage with us and amplify their own climate activities. So as we reflect on all this fantastic input that we got throughout the walk, I think really there were 7 key lessons. 2 most telling. And the first is about education. We need to continually be abreast of what's happening, educate and inform ourselves. What's happening, who's doing what about it, and how can we best help? And that just came through, whether it was the UK, whether it was France, Hungary, Bulgaria, Turkey, Lebanon. It kept coming through again and again. Education and awareness is critical. And the second, which I think is so uplifting really, is that you can just keep bumping into these fantastic people who are motivated and powering for change. And so better connections, more collaboration, greater solidarity between all these incredibly motivated people. You really feel this could turn into a movement of a size that's never been seen before, and a match for this enormous challenge that we face. So whilst we don't really know the impact we've had, it's certainly not just about totting out the number of people who engaged or the number of people who walked or the number of town halls we had. The exercise has facilitated people getting into new types of jobs, making new connections. And so certainly for me anyway, the impact of this initiative will be lifelong. And I really hope that just in the way it's inspired me, it's inspiring you to continue with the great things you're doing. So to all those who took part, thank you for creating this with me, and all power, thoughts and love to you in your fight against climate change.